Portland has organized a write-in campaign to put Packwood back in the Senate. We haven't been able to talk to the organizers, but we asked people in downtown Portland what they thought of the idea.
Bob Packwood, right? Did Wes Cooley start this?
Oh, no, that's crazy. Yeah. That is crazy. That's absurd.
Really? You're kidding. Oh, you've got to be kidding. No way. After all he's done? I can't believe they would, that desperate. There's got to be somebody better than that.
Contacted in Washington, D.C., former Senator Bob Packwood said he's flattered by the thought of a write-in campaign, but said he'll not consider running at this time. We contacted one of the women who leveled sexual harassment charges against Packwood. She laughed when we told her about the campaign, adding, "I have nothing to say." Organizers are holding a press conference tomorrow.
Bob Packwood resigned from the U.S. Senate after ethics scrutiny. Is another run in his future? Tonight on Channel 2 News at 6:30, find out about a possible new campaign for him.
Voters actually want him to return to the United States Senate. We'll have more on that sign coming up next.
KGW, Northwest News, Channel 8.
A new campaign office sprouted up along East Burnside overnight.
But its appearance shocked a few of our viewers who called us with the news. Elaine Murphy joining us live now from what appears to be a Bob Packwood write-in campaign. Elaine?
Well, Carol, this is what has caught people's eyes. It's a beautifully lettered storefront with a very familiar name on it. We also received a fax at the station early this morning announcing a Bob Packwood write-in campaign, and some people simply don't believe it. Is it a hoax? We called the campaign phone line.
It's Thursday, June 27th, and you've reached the Packwood Write-In Campaign headquarters. We're sorry if we've been unable to return your call, but the overwhelming response from the media, volunteers, and contributors has kept us very busy.
Overwhelming response? We went to headquarters. Finding it overwhelmingly empty, we went next door where Mark Peterson is putting in a new toy store.
I was here till about 8:30, 9 o'clock last night, trying to get the store ready to go, and didn't notice any lettering or anything on the windows. And I got here at about 6:15, 6:30 this morning, and the lettering was on the windows. And
finding something odd about the midnight lettering job, we looked in the windows. Notice the phone cords go nowhere. Who owns this building? So you're leasing from?
From KXL. So I'm subleasing from KXL.
So we went there in search of answers.
We subletted the building to the Northwest Sign Centers, owned by a man by the name of John Atherton, I think his name's Scott Atherton, actually.
So this is not a shameless radio promotion.
No, I wish it was, but it's not. But you're here, so it's worked. No.
So if it isn't a radio promotion, is it legit? And who is this John Scott Atherton? And why would a sign company do this? Who is behind it? Just ask the man on the street.
Bob Packwood, right? Did Wes Cooley start this?
Late this afternoon, I talked with John Atherton, the man who has sublet this property, and he said, and I quote, "Well, I can't say anything about it at the moment," end quote. As for Bob Packwood, he says he's flattered but won't consider running at this time. Meanwhile, there is a press conference here tomorrow, and we'll find out more about it then. Carol?
Still no volunteers, though, parading in at this hour, Elaine?
It's empty.
Okay. Thanks for the update.
And it may not change. We'll see. What do you think about that, Joe?
I think somebody's very good. they have a good idea of how to get some attention.
An unknown group may be trying to force the senator back into the spotlight.
It's Thursday, June 27th, and you've reached the Packwood Write-In Campaign headquarters.
You heard right. The Packwood Write-In Campaign. Apparently set up in this small office in Northeast Portland. Mark Peterson is opening a business right next door, and he hasn't seen any traffic.
Got here about 6:30 this morning, and there was the sign in the window. I just kind of thought to myself, there goes the neighborhood.
When we took to the streets and showed the announcement we received to people, their reaction was clear.
They were writing him in the Senate? Hasn't he already done enough?
I think it's ludicrous.
Is this supposed to be a joke?
That's turning out to be a good question, and one that's fairly difficult to answer, at least at this point. Yes, there's a two-door storefront. And yes, inside, there's a chart that lists some names that appear to be some kind of campaign structure. But none of those names are listed in the phone book. So we're left with a storefront, a press release, and a phone number. What happens when you call that?
We're sorry if we've been unable to return your call, but the overwhelming response from the media, volunteers, and contributors has kept us very busy.
Doesn't look busy. But even so, most campaigns are never too busy to answer calls from the media, especially one just trying to get off the ground. Matt Evans worked with Packwood. He says if it's a joke, it's a bad one.
My God, how sick are some people? Don't they have better things to do with their time than that?
If it's not a joke, then the Packwood write-in campaign's getting off to a very quiet start. In Portland, Jeremy Diesel, Channel 2 News.
So what does the former senator have to say about all of this? Channel 2 News contacted Packwood today in his Washington, D.C. office. The former senator told us he didn't know anything about the alleged write-in campaign. Packwood says he appreciates any support, but he's not running and discourages any kind of campaign on his behalf.
Packwood write-in campaign landed in the 10 o'clock news inbox. Well, we sat up and took notice. And then Jim Hyde launched this investigation.
Say what? A Packwood campaign headquarters? You're not serious. But this fax to the news media this morning listed this address on East Burnside and a phone number.
Thank you for calling the Packwood campaign headquarters. We are still in the process of setting up our offices. If you wish to volunteer or need more information on the campaign, please leave a detailed message.
Mr. Packwood resigned last year, ending his long Senate career with an interminably excruciating scandal. Contacted today in Washington, D.C. to a former aide here in Portland, Packwood said he hadn't heard about the write-in campaign. He's not a candidate, and thanks, but no thanks. Further investigation turned up Scott Atherton of Northeast Portland, who said he had set the facts.
Was it difficult for you to convince the senator to run again?
Extremely difficult. He thought his career was pretty much washed up, but he decided he needed to come back one more time.
The professional-looking signs in the window should have been the first clue.
Why are you doing this?
It's a great cheap publicity stunt for Northwest Sign Center, since we're moving to our new location starting July 1st.
Unless, of course, a Packwood campaign gets there first. Nope, the aide says Mr. Packwood's D.C. consulting business is doing well. But if Packwood were to call the campaign...
hopefully he has a good sense of humor.
Jim Hyde, Oregon's News 12.
Television and radio stations were faxed a press release about the effort. But late last night, a local sign company admitted it was all a PR stunt. They wanted to prove the impact of using signs, and from the response they got, it appears they did exactly that.
As it turns out, it was all a big joke. A new retail sign shop confessed to trying the experiment to prove the impact of signage. It's safe to say that it worked.